Good afternoon and welcome to NFTs Live. I'm your host, Tyler D. It is Monday, January 31st, a sunny and cold day here in Chicago. We are about to conclude the record-setting month for NFTs. It has been an absolute wild ride of a month. We are fully back and booming, and the times are exciting. It was an action-packed weekend, too, headlined by apes and punks and Justin Bieber. It only took me 37 shows to get Justin Bieber here. I would have taken the under, but we're excited. It's a lot to cover. On the docket here for today, we're going to hit OpenSea's record month and the biggest winners. We're going to talk Bored Ape Yacht Club and their latest record sales. Justin Bieber, the new NFT tastemaker. We're going to talk some punks action and the big sale over the weekend. Then we're going to hit the Treasure Trove and their big announcement. Then we'll get into our rotating segments. We're going to hit the weekend market movers from IC Tools, check in on the PFP and Art Blocks floors, look at a few new NFT products, including Rentable and the SOS market, and then quickly touch on a few upcoming drops for this week. Ton to cover. Sound good? All right, let's get started. So first and foremost, we got to go back to our trusty Dune Analytics dashboard here to recap what is closing in on by far our record revenue month for NFTs here. So I'll start in this chart in the top left, showing our monthly volume. Right now, we are sitting at 4.8 billion or so on the month. It looks like we'll probably not quite get to the 5 billion mark, but we'll get pretty close. Significantly up from our prior months, almost a 2x from December, and substantially above our previous all-time high of 3.4 from August, which was peak mania for those who can remember. So it's been an incredible month. There's a lot to unpack from some of these charts here. I think first and foremost, just looking at where we are now from a year ago. So the January bar doesn't even register on this chart. I can't even pull it up. February of 2021 was 96 million. So we'll round up to 100 million. We're up 48x in volume in the past year. So that is definitely significant. You know, we see the daily bar charts here in our view on the top right. And, 200 million is kind of like our new good day threshold. Previously, I was considering 100 million a really solid day for NFT revenue. And now we have, 6 days that were pretty close to 200 million, and 150 is pretty much the average. So again, really significant volume. I think what might be the most important data point in this view is the OpenSea monthly active traders. So the unique traders who've done at least one transaction, we're up at 540,000 traders here in the month of January who've done at least one transaction. That's up almost 200,000 from December, which was 360. And then again, let's take a look at last year. Last February, 15,000 unique traders. So we are up, 35x on that. And we see then on our far right, just the parabolic increase in total cumulative users up around 1.6 million. So the numbers look good. It looks like we're really just getting started. And clearly there's been a lot of new entries, new users into the market. So who's been the primary beneficiaries? Who won January? So I thought for today, let's take a look at the Crypto Slam view of the market. I like their view because they have all the different blockchains, not just Ethereum. You can filter by all time. We're going to take a look at the 30-day here. Should be no surprise to anyone who follows the NFT markets, but number one and number two, Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, 500 million in sales. Their volume's up 80% and 60% on the month. Just the absolute head and shoulders above the rest winner of the month. But Azuki's right there with them, coming in at $211 million in revenue on the month. I want to be very clear. Azuki's minted 19 days ago. This product is less than 3 weeks old, and they've done 200 million in revenue. They're already third on the board on the month. If you filter over to all time, they're 13th. They're already the 13th highest grossing project in just 19 days. So certainly that's something I'm taking note of. This is really unprecedented growth for a new project. And granted, we're in a hyper bull market right now. There's huge tailwinds, but I mean, no product has done this type of revenue. They're almost at a 10 ETH floor here in less than 3 weeks. So certainly that product has my full attention. Rounding out a few of the other big winners, CloneX, we'll touch on them. They won the weekend as well. They came in at 150 million on the month. Axie down number 5. They are the number 1 all-time project still right now. Punks at 6. They've since resurged here in the past few weeks. That helped them. The Doodles are back. Fanta Bears had a really nice run, even though they've tailed off a bit, kind of on that Asia influence and Asia narrative here. Sandbox, always a big player. And then Hate Prime, another big winner of the month, a new project that came out just a few weeks ago and already 75 million. So I think a few takeaways from this board. Clearly the top is, what we'll consider the blue chips, the highest or the best performing, highest floor prices products that are out there. The blue chips have definitely been winning this month, but also some new entries. So Azuki, new project. Hate Prime, new project. Prime Ape I want to say they came out end of December, still relatively new. Little Heroes, also new. And then if we get down into the 21 through 25, CryptoBats, Killer GF, also new products. So, 20 to 30% of the top 25 are new projects. So that's the new money chasing some of the new trends, the hot new items is certainly another theme that we're seeing here. But certainly just a really fun month to participate in and report on. All right, well, let's dive deeper into the weekend that Bored Ape Yacht Club had. So just yesterday, we saw the new all-time high sale for Bored Apes. It was at 1,080 Ethereum. I want to say around $2.7, $2.8 million for this gold ape. You see the bathrobe. It was bought by Deepak, who is one of the founders of Chain Protocol and has famously entered the ape market in the past 4 to 6 weeks. He's swept floors. His profile picture is the astronaut laser-eyed ape that he bought from John Knopf that really kind of helps level up the apes. He's been certainly a big contributor. So he has now really cemented himself as a top holder for apes, and that really set off a run. So right after that, with about 2.5 hours later, we saw 2 gold ape packages sell for 800 ETH each. So I believe this was the Bored Ape as well as 2 mutants that were tied to the ape and the corresponding BAKC dog as well. So not just the ape selling for 800, but the full package, but still some of the highest sales that we've seen, most certainly. And then, the icing on the cake, this happened yesterday, but just kind of walking back the timeline, if we take a look at some of the top sales here on the OpenSea page, this seemingly floor ape here, the black tee, the sad eyes, it sold for 500 ETH on Saturday. And the buyer, Justin Bieber. So Bieber opened up a wallet. He bought a doodle, and then he came in and made a huge splash with the Bored Apes. He bought that ape for 500 ETH. There was a lot of speculation on Twitter if this was an inside deal. The ape had been previously listed at 350. It was relisted just an hour before Justin bought it for 500 ETH. But man, what a sell for that seller. Also, the serial on this is 3001, which apparently Bieber's birthday is March 1st, which I should have known as a fairly hardcore Bieber fan myself. But now this is sending anyone who's got the 3001 serial number into a frenzy, and we're seeing a lot of listings at that 500. But we were all curious: is Bieber just making a splash? Is he coming in? He just liked this ape. Kind of what was going on behind the scenes. Well, he posted on Instagram here this morning, and has some of the song lyrics here. What if you had it all but nobody to call? I'm blanking on the name of that song. I know it's one of his recent hits, but he's now touting his Bored Ape on his Instagram page. So certainly going to get some tons of views, tons of likes here from the Biebs. So big splash for the Biebs. It'll be interesting to see if he stops here or if he keeps playing. But certainly he got the market into a frenzy. That's Bored Apes. We've touched on them quite a bit. Punks also had a nice weekend. So one of the highest sales that we've seen, the number 10 all-time high sale came in just yesterday at 1.18K ETH, so 1180, right around $3 million for this zombie punk, the 5th highest zombie sale, the 10th highest sale of all time. So that's certainly nice to see. Certainly most of the action that we've seen this month has been closer to the floor. We haven't really seen any high-end purchases since Punk 4156 sold his ape there back in early December, which kind of sent the punks market into that tailspin, which it's now pulled out of. But then even this morning, we saw a really nice floor sweep. So I'm showing the punk sales page here. You see all these sales from like that 1 hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, Mark. It was a 19 punk floor sweep, getting that floor back up to 85. So certainly the apes have pulled ahead, but the punk market is responding here too. I think a friend pointed out, what's sharp about sweeping the floors right now for punks is that Larva Labs has come out and said that any of the proceeds from the V1 punks sales are going to be going back into buying from this collection. So I won't go into all the details, but there's a prior project. It's not recognized by Larva Labs, but it's considered V1 punks. They've been somewhat flying here in the past week. That floor has risen up to about 15 ETH or so. Larva Labs doesn't recognize that the version that we show is the primary punk market, but they've committed to continuing to commit the proceeds back into punk buys. So it'll certainly be interesting. They made their first buy over the weekend. If they continue to do so, that'll be a nice net for the floors there. All right. Well, that kind of rounds out the punks. The last top news, I want to touch on a pretty big announcement that came out from Trove. This is from the Treasure DAO team. The Trove marketplace is the new marketplace that they're launching on Arbitrum. We knew that they were going to accept ETH, that it wouldn't be denominated in Magic, but they made a really big announcement here. I'll read the tweet. Wait, some of y'all really thought we'd only be on Arbitrum. And they're retweeting Composable Finance, who said, our mural NFT bridge is live. Imagine the limitless potential of Treasure DAO's Arbitrum marketplace. If it could list NFTs from ETH mainnet, it would be magic. So what does this mean? Essentially, the concept or the idea here is that the Trove marketplace will reside on Arbitrum, which is an L2 rollup, but it will be able to connect to marketplaces on L1 Ethereum mainnet, which means that you'll be able to interact on the L2 Arbitrum marketplace and pay L2 gas fees. That's the impact. So gas fees on Arbitrum are like 0.002, 0.001 ETH, $2, $4 a transaction, versus those who are used to transacting on ETH mainnet L1. I was transacting this morning and paying 0.04 to 0.05 ETH, per transaction and some peak gas. So we're talking 1/50th of the gas fees during peak times here. So this is big news. This is the first marketplace that I'm aware of that is potentially going to do this. So I think this could be a real game changer. It is another, driver to be bullish on Treasure DAO and everything that they are building. But certainly they'll need to execute it and then incentivize listings. So we've seen how, and usage. We've seen how looks rare is incentivizing users, but still isn't really getting the traffic, nearly the traffic that OpenSea is. Trove will certainly have a similar battle to fight, but it will certainly be interesting, and those lower gas prices will be certainly a big incentive. All right, well, that's our top news. Let's go ahead and get into our rotating segments. I'm going to start by taking a look at the weekend market movers here from our friends at Icy Tools. We've got the board filtered here by 3 days. we're going to ignore the two wash trading projects, Terraforms and Meebits. So Clone X, the winner, coming in around 20,000 ETH, a huge weekend for them. That floor was in single digits just a few days ago. It's up at 17 ETH. Just an incredible weekend. Yeah, I want to say it's up close to 80, 90% from a floor price perspective. It wasn't that long ago that these were sitting at a 3 or 4 ETH floor. So certainly the Clone X project is one of the biggest winners of the month of January. Anecdotally, it seems like a lot of the money coming from the BAYC and MAYC ecosystem is rotating to Clone X. And I think that's really important for us as traders and investors to follow, because that's the BAYC ecosystem is where all the money is right now, or certainly a good chunk. So understanding what those buyers and sellers are going to do with their funds is certainly something important to track, and certainly one that I'm trying to track down and monitor myself. So certainly seems like Clone X is a big winner there. Killer GF, one of the big winners of the new anime trend. I don't know if you consider Azuki anime or not. I think I've seen that it is bucketed in there. We've got Killer GF at 10,800 ETH traded. That floor got around 2 ETH pre-reveal. On the reveal, it has since dumped a bit, down to about 1.3 ETH the last time I saw, but certainly some massive volume for that project. I'm going to skip Azuki's come back. Lives of Asuna, another anime project from a big artist. They came in at 4,700 ETH on the weekend. That floor got as high as around 2.88 Saturday night. It's sitting around 2.2. We've got the public sale for the remaining 2,000. It's a raffle, but that raffle whitelist will be going here in an hour or so. So the full supply should come out here today, and it'll be interesting to watch the price action from there. I think we can expect, potentially a short drop, but I think there's also some pent up demand on the sidelines. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one rebounds fairly quickly. And then, of course, ahead of the big reveal. So the reveal will be huge for the Lives of Asuna project as well. And then Zipsy's Supernormal, another project in that class, they did 4,300 ETH on the weekend, and that floor is still sitting pretty high in the upper twos. I skipped over Azuki. We covered them at the beginning of the show. They've continued just to be really strong, nearly 10,000 ETH over the weekend. The floor is knocking on the door of 10. It's around 9.5, 9.6. But what's striking me about that product is the mid-range, the mid-tiers are all just getting gobbled up. It's getting very difficult to find any of the more elite or the rare Azukis for less than 20 ETH, which is a good sign of this product potentially leveling up here again soon. But it's, again, just tremendous volume for that project, and so early. We touched on, I guess, BAKC. I haven't really touched on them. So Bored Ape Yacht Club's at 117 ETH floor right now. The Mutants are at 25. The Dogs, BAKC, is up to 12, which I never would have expected in 100 years for that dog floor to get this high. But they're also included in the Ape token, so they're a part of the hype, and the market demand is also, rotating down to them. It seems like they're kind of pegged at 50% of the Mutant floor price, and Mutants are pegged at about 20% of the Apes, are kind of the ratios that I've been tracking. A few new products that are also have been dominating headlines this weekend. So Monster Ape Club came out yesterday at 0.2 or 0.25 mint. It ran up to about 0.8 floor, almost 4,000 ETH. Gurley's NFT, a project kind of riding the female NFT narrative right now, which that whole index has been doing really well. This one came from a 15-year-old girl artist. This one came out of the gate and got to like a 0.33 floor on some solid volume here at 3,000 ETH. The Crypto Chicks had a big weekend. They ran up into the twos. The Crypto Cobans ran up a bit and came down. Boss Beauties, another female product that had a really strong weekend here. And then CyberKong's VX, the whole Kongs ecosystem had a pretty strong weekend, but with a drop yesterday. I want to say the Kongs VX floor got into the mid fours before dropping. Well, they announced their play and collect announcement staking DeFi mechanisms here just yesterday. So I won't go into full details on this announcement, but as I understand it, there are new NFTs that you can get from staking the baby Kongs. Now that you can go on adventures, kind of a P2E, play to earn mechanic to get the loot called Kongium, and there's additional benefits for their banana token. So certainly their banana token had a good weekend. I think it went up 2 or 3x at one point, I think, before also selling off a bit yesterday. And they announced it's going to be played on Polygon. So I'm certainly not an expert in this ecosystem. I don't own any of these NFTs. I know a lot of sharp folks do. If you're interested in this, we'll post this link in the show notes for folks to dive in to a little bit more detail about what the Kongs have announced here. All right. Well, that covers most of the weekend movers. Let's go ahead and get into one of ones. So the biggest story of the weekend, it really came right after our show on Friday, but Searlight accepted an offer almost off the gun here on a new piece he minted. It's called Town Square. 3 heroes hanging out in the town square. One of them seems to have stopped for a potion vending machine. So it's got his classic style with the animated background. The vending machine is also an iconic, piece of Searlight's pieces and his overall collections. Here you also have kind of like the tie-in to the game. Who will you play as here with a few options? So the buyer, Artifaction, 120 ETH bid, got accepted almost 300,000. Just really goes to show that Searlight is quickly becoming top 3. I'd say definitely top 5, maybe top 3 crypto artist, digital artist right now with the prices he's consistently able to command. Also a big weekend for his pet project, Capsule House. So that product has been doing really well. The floor doubled in the past week from about 2 ETH to 4 before retracing a bit here in the last 24 hours. But the big news is the hatcheting. So the first PFPs are coming today. Today is the reveal for the yokai set. So the yokais, I don't know the numbers right off the top of my head. I want to say about 15% to 18% of the total supply are of the yokais. So those owners will be able to trade in their NFTs for these new PFPs. So there's been a lot of anticipation on this. We've seen a lot of hype, a lot of previews for what these will look like. It'll be very interesting to see how the market values these, but it certainly looks to be some of the best art that we've seen for PFPs, in the past year or so. There was one other big announcement. I'll see if I can scroll down and find it. Here we go. The ultra rare golden backgrounds. So there's another specific class or set of capsules called Mythics. And those, it was just announced yesterday, will receive a golden background. So increased incentives for more of the elite sets. And there's clearly going to be a lot of differences and disparities across this set. So clearly this team has a lot planned. It'll be exciting to see how this all kind of goes down here today. All right, so that's one-on-ones. Let's go ahead and check in on the floor prices. We've alluded to a lot of these already in the show. I'm going to focus on the 30-day change just so folks can get a sense of what this month has really looked like. So Bored Ape Yacht Club, top of the board, 117 floor, up 72% on the month. Kong's Genesis, up at 104 ETH, 76% increase this month. The Punks at 84, up 25% on the month. As we get down into the next tier, the Mutant Apes up 96% on the month at a 27 ETH floor. Clone X up 300% on the month, 17.75. Cool Cats up 77%, up at 15.8 ahead of their Cool Pets drop later today. We've got the Doodles still staying neck and neck with Cool Cats, up 130% on the month at 15. I thought those were overheated at 8 and 10. They briefly retraced into the nines and then rocketed right back up. Maybe on the Justin Bieber news when he bought his Doodle Saturday, that seemed to be one of the drivers. But certainly there's more to it as well. We talked about BAKC up 140% on the month at 12. We got the Cyber Kongs. This is more like the baby Kongs. They're up 88% up at 10. World of Women up 360% at 9. Let's keep scrolling through just a few more. Gunner Cats, one of the lower winners, only 11% up at 7.4 on the month. Deadfell is up 170%. And then sadly, got to check in on the Cryptodes. 3.4, only up 3% on the month. So certainly not increasing nearly as much as some of these other blue chip or higher end projects are. And then quickly shout out to the Capsule House. They're sitting at 3.1, down from 4, but still up 675% on the month. So great month for them. I'll quickly go through some of the art blocks for us. We're seeing a little bit of a pickup in art blocks action, but still not that much to really get too excited about just yet. I think it remains to be seen if this PFP project money will rotate into generative art. I'm still bearish if that's going to happen, but certainly still a market I follow. So Fidenza's down 5% on the month, 71. Elevate Deconstruction is down 33% at 50. Ringers at 40, down 18% on the month. Let's go through just a few more. Unigrids up 26%, so some green, like to see that. Archetypes down 17%, Subscapes down 20%. Chromie Squiggles up 15%. So those had a nice run. They ran up to around 9.5 before the undercutters came in. So those came back down to earth at about 8.4. I do want to remind folks that we've got a new curated drop today. Oh, it's actually live right now. Let's check in. So this is screens from Thomas Lynn Peterson. I'm going to refresh it. It looks like 35 or so have been minted out of 1,000. And it looks to be at the 1.75 price point. So you see it's a Dutch auction. It'll continue to go down every 5 minutes or so. I'm a little surprised in this market that we haven't seen a few more buys than this. This artist again has done a factory drop called Rapture that was pretty well received by the market. It was released in peak August mania. Came out like a 4 ETH floor before dropping. But this is a known artist that several people follow. So I imagine we'll start to see some buying action here, probably around the 1.25, 1 ETH levels, but certainly we'll be watching. All right, that's the floor prices. I want to end the show by touching on a few new products that have come out in the last week or so. So 9x9, he's the founder of the SOS DAO, Open DAO, the SOS token. He just announced a new prediction market called SOS Market. It's definitely in beta. I haven't interacted with the platform that much yet, but here you see their first example or use case. Will the BAYC floor stay above 80 ETH by the end of January? Of course, that looks pretty obvious right now. So this is a new prediction market where you can bet essentially on some of these outcomes. It looks like they use their own token called the Polk, P-O-L-K token to allow you to make those bets. Certainly, this new trend of prediction markets, I've heard anecdotally that a few different DAOs are potentially working on. So I'll be curious if we see a bit of an influx on these. Certainly, this is a way for users with lower bankrolls to be able to bet on or against these projects. So that definitely is an interesting concept to me. I'd love to be able to bet on BAYC upside right now, without putting up 116 ETH. So if there's a marketplace like this where I could do that with a decent return, certainly something that I'd be interested in. And then the new product is called Rentable. Just came across, my radar last week. It's Rentable, the renting protocol for NFTs. I'll just go ahead and scroll through their post. Basically, I think this chart is probably the best to explain it. So basically, an owner is able to list their NFTs to be rented. They'll get a token, essentially proof of ownership. The person who rents the token will get a wrapped version of that. So let's say I own a CryptoPunk and I want to rent it out. I can essentially list a price and a time period that I'm willing to rent that out for. And then if a user decides to rent it, they're able to do so. They'll get a wrapped version of that. They're able to use it as their PFP, for Twitter in the hexagon for as long as that rental period is. It seems like they're also able to sub rent that NFT as well, since it'll be a token that can be transferred. And then at the end of the listing, that'll expire and go back to the original owner, who again will always keep a proof of ownership token in their wallet that they can have and share and show. And then they'll earn the Y token here, which is essentially the rental fees on renting out the NFT. So a way to earn some passive income on your, let's say, higher price NFTs, without selling them. So certainly like that idea. I'll be interested if there's a real market for that and if users are really interested in renting out NFTs. But I could see, there's several NFT events going on this year. The 2 or 3 day, we had NFT in New York City last year. We had Art Basel down in Miami. I want to say there's like 12 to 20 different NFT events here this year. I could see folks wanting to rent a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape just for the weekend ahead of a conference or event like that potentially. So it'll be very interesting to see, what the market volumes and revenue that this product gets. But certainly we continue to see increased financialization and innovation in this space, and it's certainly interesting to watch. All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up. A few upcoming drops today. On Friday's show, we covered several for today. We've got the Metascapes. That pre-sale is live right now. The public sale is coming on February 2nd. We've got Epinim's Epiheroes is going live today. I don't have the time offhand, so go ahead and check that one out. And then the Cool Cats Cool Pets was supposed to be going live during the show. It has since got delayed. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be around 5 p.m. Eastern today. There's going to be a lot of hype around that. That is for the allow list here today at 5 p.m. Tomorrow it will be the public sale unless it gets delayed again. So certainly we'll be paying attention to that. But that pretty much covers it. That is our show for today. Thanks to our listeners and viewers for tuning in. Join Brett Richey and myself this Friday as we break down the week's action in NFTs. Till then, stay safe out there. Let's hope this NFT bull market rages on into February. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.